All right, hey guys, I'm a hot mess this morning. I slept late and I'm just gonna do my face and I'm gonna do a little chit chat. Yeah, I've been I sleep on my face like a good amount of the time. And all the years that I really suffered from COPD, which is so much better now. It's amazing what happens when you actually find the right remedies and don't buy into the bullshit of what's possible and not possible. But anyway, when I had COPD really bad, I slept forward like this all the time. And so it's a habit that I've just gotten into, and I really like sleeping forward. And I wake up and yeah, lovely. It'll go away as the day goes by. But anyway, I just got up a little while ago. And I wanted to do my face this morning, and I wanted to just come on and mention that one of my comments got removed from a Reddit thread because it violates Reddit's policy, whatever their community policy is. Apparently, their policy is you can't state facts and you can't state the truth of something, even when it's verifiable, even when it's provable on Google and studies on PubMed and studies from the National Institute of Health. Yeah. This is where we are at. This is absolutely the height of the shit show, although I do think it's going to get higher. I do. It's just at this time we are pretty full on with the absolute insanity. Now, the thread was on sunscreens, and people were commenting that chemical sunscreens don't get absorbed into the skin, and I corrected them. And I also corrected them with a couple of other things that they said. And my comment got deleted. So every time you go to YouTube and you hear a doctor or you hear somebody spouting about this and spouting about that simply because it doesn't fit into the mainstream narrative agenda, you have to really think long and hard how true this is. And even if it is true, maybe putting it into a bigger context, like I've done the video on which is more dangerous, raw milk or leafy greens, okay? And you have to really think critically about things because there's hardly anybody telling the truth out there, okay? Because those that are telling the truth are getting banned, deleted, their videos are getting taken down, okay? So we are bombarded with information that serves the agenda, not truth, okay? Not truth. Because the agenda doesn't want you to know the truth. Of course, why would it? But it also ties into when I talk about they don't care if you know the truth because they know most people aren't going to act anyway. That, in essence, is true, okay? And that's why you can say some things that are truthful and they stick. But other times you say things that are truthful and they remove them. And it really just depends. I guess it just depends on how much of a threat they think that truth is. Like, if I put out a comment that chemical sunscreens get absorbed into your skin, they're found in your blood and in your tissues, and that sort of thing, I think in some instances it would stick. But when it's on a thread where there's multiple people saying that chemical sunscreens are fine because they sit on your skin, and like seriously, because it's a thread of really dumb people. Although there was a couple of people that were like, you don't know what you're talking about, you know, kind of thing. But when I actually explained why they don't know what they're talking about, that's the one that got removed. Okay, so yeah, it's crazy time. And I think that's why too with my videos, not all of my videos get struck down, but some of them do. It depends how far I go. And I've talked about this before, like in my video about why I'm not, you know, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to, you know, stick around on YouTube for too long or whatever. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm here now, and I'll be here for a bit. You can say the truth, depending on what it is. But if it's about a hot topic, they shut you right down. So again, it really just depends on what the algorithms and all the bot shit, like it really depends what they're keyed into. Like I can talk about things and I'm like surprised that it doesn't get taken down, but then I think, oh, probably because there's so few people talking about it. Like when I do the connect the dot videos, there's so few people talking about that I think it just doesn't get flagged because it's not like one of the hot topics that they're flagging at the time. Because I'm always surprised when I talk about NASA and CERN and do all the connect the dots with the CRISPR technology. I'm always pleasantly surprised that those videos didn't get taken down. But then I'll mention something else and it will get taken down. So again, it really just depends. That's why I never know. I never know what I can say and what I can't say. So it's literally like walking through a minefield. Okay, so little bit of skincare here. You guys know how much I love 100% cotton crocheted cloth. Absolutely love it for my face. Keeps my skin really smooth. And I want to mention and just remind you guys why you don't want to be over exfoliating your skin. It actually is really terrible for your skin. Really terrible. Okay, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and this might not be correct, all right? So I'm not saying this is a fact, but I'm just saying it would appear that people who over exfoliate their skin are going to be more prone to skin cancer, okay? And there's a lot of reasons for that, okay, when you understand how the skin works, what the function of the stratum corneum is, the function of the horny layer. So by constantly removing that down to very, very little or almost nothing and keeping that horny layer removed is going to have some detrimental effect with your skin, okay? You're losing your built-in protection, and now you solely have to rely on sunscreens and physical means. Like you've basically just destroyed your first line of defense with your skin, your barrier, that outer barrier. And that's what destruction means, is when you're altering something from its normal natural functioning. That's what it means to destroy something. Okay, so chemical exfoliants and retinols, and yes, they destroy your skin. Okay, now some would argue that what I do isn't good, okay, because I do mild exfoliating, but it's mild. It's only getting that top loose surface stuff off that my skin would have naturally done 30 years ago or 40 years ago. Yeah, because I'm really getting up there. Can't believe it. I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months. How crazy is that, right? Crazy. So I don't over exfoliate, but I do mildly exfoliate every day, but it's just because my body doesn't do what it used to do. Now, with that said, as we get older, the body does build up that thicker outer layer of skin, and it is actually for a very good reason. I just don't like it. Okay, so this is when you do the weighing act, right? It's like I don't like the idea that my skin is developing this thick dead layer of skin because you touch it and you can like rub it off and feel it, and I don't like that. So I do like to keep that at bay. And when it comes to my face, because I do like to wear mineral powders, and I do wear them mainly as a sunscreen in the summertime and spring and fall. But I do wear them in the wintertime sometimes too, if I just feel like it, because I do love the way they make my skin look, I won't lie. But I'm not a big makeup person. I don't wear makeup all the time. Hardly ever, actually. And if I don't keep my skin clean, then it just doesn't sit, not clean, but like mildly exfoliated. It just doesn't sit as well on my skin. Okay, so that's a given, right? But that outer thickened layer actually serves a vital purpose as we get older. So it really is a delicate balancing act, and it isn't wise to be constantly exfoliating your skin. No matter of fact, if you're young, you really shouldn't be doing it at all. You really shouldn't be. You don't need to. Okay? And again, people are obsessed with youth, but they don't realize that some of the things can really be damaging your skin. So you cannot trust estheticians and dermatologists, okay? They're in a money-making industry to get you to be doing a whole bunch of shit to your skin and buying a whole bunch of products, okay? Estheticians don't make that much money on their treatments. They are supposed to sell you a bunch of product, okay? And we all know how dermatologists make their money, okay? And we all know that dermatologists make their money because people are uninformed and don't know how to take care of themselves without them. And that's true of all doctors, okay? So you really cannot believe everything they say. I'm not saying everything they say is not accurate. I'm just saying you cannot believe the majority of things that they say. And even though they might be partially true or even true, the suggestions and the solutions are going to benefit them and the medical and big pharma establishment. Okay, that's what it is going to benefit. Okay, because drugs don't heal, drugs don't cure, and drugs don't bring your body back into balance, and drugs do not help your body to actually work better. They manipulate and they alter and they change, but they do not support your body to heal. Okay, so yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. And it's just amazing to me how many people want to support that. I don't like to support that. I never will. And again, I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for medical intervention. We all know that there is, right? I mean, yeah, there's going to be a time and a place where something is so severe. And like if you're having a massive, allergic reaction to something and you're going to die, or car accident, or you're having a heart attack, and yes, there's clearly a time and a place, but for most things, they're really completely missing the mark. Not even a little bit, but completely. All right, so I just put my face balm on and let that soak in a little bit before I put on my sunscreen. Now, I don't know if I'm even going to be out that much today, but I made a video the other day where I talked about how I'm really loving this Badger face sunscreen. It is a 30. There's some who, like to use more. And if it was a 50, that would be great, but it's not. It doesn't matter though. If I need the extra protection, I'm just going to put some mineral powder on over it. So it's no big deal for me. But I do really love this. And it is coconut oil based. Okay, so that's going to rule it out as an option for some people. But my skin does great with coconut oil. And honestly, this is such a silky smooth formula. I was blown away by it because I make my own products. You guys know that. And I like my stuff. I've been doing it for 30 years and I make really beautiful products. This is really good stuff. Like, this is really, really nice. And it's coconut oil, does have some sunflower wax, I believe, vitamin E, I believe, and zinc oxide. There is no titanium dioxide in here. Okay, so if that matters to you, zinc is a broader spectrum sunscreen. Titanium dioxide does offer a little better UVB protection. Zinc oxide offers better long UVA protection. Actually, titanium dioxide really doesn't block those long rays, okay, if at all. So it's totally fine, because if I wanted titanium dioxide, I'll just add a little mineral powder that contains it. No big deal. So I want to show you. Goes on a little white, okay? But when it blends into my skin, there's no white cast. And no, I'm not doing the 8 fingers, because that's how much you would need. I have watched people talk about how much sunscreen you would need to get this amount of protection. I'm not putting that much shit on my face. It's not happening. So that's why I love the mineral powder so much, because I'm gonna do a layer of this or 2 layers of this. And then I'm going to throw some mineral powder on if I'm gonna be outdoors for any length of time. Not errands and just running around and going out and doing stuff, no. But if I'm gonna be outdoors, I will throw mineral powder on over this. I find the mineral powders work better because they stay on my skin for hours, and they just work better in my experience. And I used this yesterday, and it did not sting my eyes. But again, I haven't tried it at the beach where I'm going to be in the water and hot, sweating, you know, whatever. So we'll see. But yesterday it did not sting my eyes, and I was really happy about that. I honestly don't know how anybody can put all those gobs of sunscreen on their face. It's absolutely disgusting to me. I don't know, does that make me OCD or not OCD? That's not the right word, but I can't, like this is even gross. This is gross to me, to keep putting on this is gross. I cannot stand this much stuff on my face. And it's oil-based, right? So that makes it even worse. Now, a lot of the chemical sunscreens that are not oil-based, they're water-based, they are going to absorb more, or more quickly, I should say. But now you're putting on very sketchy stuff onto your skin that's getting absorbed into your bodies and into your cells. Have at it. Not a shred of science showing that they're safe, but there is some science showing that they do affect our cells and can disrupt hormones. Well, they do. They do interfere with the hormonal system. They know that, okay? It's to what degree and how much, but it's not looking good. It's why they are not continuing to do the studies, because they know it's going to be bad. Yeah. And it's all just priming people, because they've got the CRISPR technology now, where they're going to start doing shit that actually change your cells to respond differently to the sun to prevent damage. So they don't test the chemical sunscreens because they know it's going to be horrible, and people are too stupid to realize that there's no safety studies and they keep using it anyway. So they just don't test it. They just don't, because they know it's going to be bad. It's not approved, but people keep using it anyway. And then I don't know how they're going to swing this, and I don't know if they're going to do a test and say, oh, these are bad. We discovered they're bad. But now we've got this CRISPR technology stuff. Or if they're just going to slide it. They're just going to slide it right in. They're just going to go from the chemical sunscreens to the CRISPR technology stuff. I don't know how they're going to do it. That's the thing. I know what they're going to do. I just don't know how they're going to do it. But you can be sure they're going to do it, okay? And they're sucking people into the whole agenda with all their potions and lotions and injections and treatments and all of that. It's just all part of the transhuman agenda. It's very disturbing. Actually, I'm not going to do that again. So this is about as much as I'm putting on my face. And it's morning, so if I were going to be like going kayaking later or something, which I'm not, it's actually going to be pretty hot today, and I don't want to be out in the hot sun. I just don't like being out in the hot sun. I could, do another layer, or just put a layer of my mineral powder on, whatever. And this is just my frankincense and myrrh and a little castor oil, treating a couple lesions that I have. I've had a couple lesions before that I've treated. This was where my older one was. I just have a little freckle there now, but the lesion is gone. It's been gone for years too. It hasn't come back yet. I hope it doesn't come back. But it hasn't yet, so we'll see. A little mole over here. So and then I will tap on a thicker, I have a really, really thick sunscreen, zinc oxide. I'll tap that on over the lesions when this dries down, just to make sure that I didn't dilute that. So if you've had a lot of sun damage on your skin like I have over the past, I had an enormous amount, like crazy amount. And lighter skin is the most susceptible to skin damage. Okay, so if you are Caucasian, you definitely are at more risk, okay, because we genetically are from much colder regions. We do not have the ability to protect ourselves from the sun. Even with a base tan, we don't have the ability to protect ourselves like darker skinned people. So yeah, there's just a lot to it, okay? So when you see a lot of these people in the sun healing community, which I like that community. I think they have a lot of good information, but again, you've got to put everything into a bigger picture. They show you pictures of people sunbathing back in the day for health. It was a health prescription. If you were sick, they put you out in the sun, right? Unless you had like a hot condition, something where you're overheated and you're hot and you've got this hot eruptive disease, like eruptive diseases, which are like hot diseases, right? You wouldn't want to be in the sun, right? Sunlight, a little bit of sunlight, yes. And if it's cool, fresh air and little sunlight, great. But you wouldn't want to be in the heat, right? You wouldn't want to be in the sun. But a lot of those pictures are showing you of like a couple of people out on the ski slope, right? And they're in their underwear and tank tops getting sun, but it's cool, right? It's not 90 degrees in the summertime. Okay, so sunbathing was done in the cooler weather, in the cooler environments. And their summers didn't even really get all that hot. Their UV probably never got all that high. And from my understanding is they were likely sunbathing earlier in the morning and later in the afternoon, and not during that mid-time day. Okay, this was the ancient wisdom, right? Because sunlight is very healing. It is extremely beneficial for the human body. Actually, it's essential. Okay, but it's extremely beneficial as a therapeutic treatment to help heal the body, but you have to do it sensibly. Okay, so protecting from that really intense sun during the hours of whatever and whatever, when that UV is really, really, really high, the UVB, I should say, UVA is consistent all the time. And again, you have to ask yourself, so UVB is not consistent. It waxes and wanes. It changes on the season, the time of day, whether it's rainy and cloudy, what type of clouds, all that stuff. But yet UVA is consistent all the time. That is how absolutely vital UVA is for the planet and life on it, that it has to be present every minute of every day. And it's the same amount, it doesn't change, okay? So we have to be careful about buying into the fear mongering, because clearly it is absolutely essential. But nature does tell us when that sun gets super high in the sky and really, really, really hot, because if you're out for a long time, it does start to burn your skin. It does tell us you need to get out. Now, what I don't understand is why do we not have stronger protective mechanisms? But again, my answer is the question is kind of answered when I actually go back and say, well, it's because we're genetically mismatched. We are just genetically mismatched. Okay, I don't belong in this environment. I don't even live in the South. I live in New England. But my ancestors come from places that are more north. They wouldn't have been dealing with summers that were in the 90s with a UV of a 10. Okay, that would have been a rare thing, okay, for people of my skin color. So we have to remember that, okay? Most of us are mismatched. So that's that, all right? So I just wanted to mention those things. And I also wanted to mention, for those of you that have a history like I do, you have a lot of skin damage, consider using zinc products more often. Use them as a night balm, use them as your day-to-day, because aside from the fact of protecting you from more damage, okay, zinc is very healing, to the skin, okay? And they have done some studies where there is very strong evidence, okay, that it helps to protect your cells from skin cancer and lesions and things of that nature. And if you already have some, they can actually help support some skin healing. And you guys know what I love best for that. I've already done videos on that, but this is, and it doesn't have to be this, this is what's in my hand at the moment. I generally, at night, this is what I use at night, unless it's summer. I don't really use this in the summer because it's occlusive and it's just, it traps the heat in your skin. It just doesn't feel good. So this is not my summer stuff, okay? In the summer, I'm going to use something lighter, something that's in a lighter base. That is definitely an occlusive. But I love that because it's super simple. The ingredients are super clean. And then there's a maximum strength one that does contain balsam of Peru, and that's something that I don't generally use during the day, although some people do and they're fine with it. They have no problem with it. They use it as a sunscreen. And I do use that as a night cream sometimes. And it doesn't make me react. I don't have a reaction to the balsam of Peru. Some people might, so it's something you'd want to patch test. And I've talked about patch testing in another video, which is gone unfortunately, but when you patch test, you have to do it in the spot you're going to use it. Don't do your arm. That's pointless. Okay? Do it on your face or wherever you're going to use it. And do it for a week. Do it for 2 weeks. Do it. Like, don't just do it for a day. 24-hour patch test is meaningless. Okay? You really need to do it for about a week. Okay? Because you can have what's called a sensitized reaction. Now, technically, you can have a sensitized reaction at any time. But at least if you do it for a while, you're going to know, is the reaction going to happen quick? Okay, not if I do it, I'm not going to get a reaction within a week, okay? But that's really important to know. And a lot of sensitized reactions happen because you're using a product too much. So I'm a huge fan of balancing and trying not to use strong actives repeatedly. So I will use the advanced one, but I also alternate it with the sensitive skin one, which doesn't contain it. The thing is, the sensitive skin one doesn't contain as much zinc. So you just got to play around. And then I do have one downstairs that has a higher amount of zinc. It's pretty high amount of zinc. I don't know how much it is, but it's, I don't know, 20% maybe. The sensitive skin one has 16%, maximum one has 40%. The one I have downstairs I think is like 20% or whatever. And that has no actives in it. So I can use that one as well. And of course, this is one of my newer ones. What's the percentage? I think the percentage of zinc is 20 something. I don't know, my reader's on, but anyway, whatever it is. But zinc is very healing for the skin. So if you have rosacea, if you have mites on your skin in an abundant amount, because they're not the problem, okay? Your skin is the problem, all right? But this can help really soothe and help protect and heal your skin barrier, okay? And of course, correcting the problem. Drugs don't correct the problem. Killing shit doesn't correct the problem. You still have the problem. You're just masking it and manipulating it. Okay, so it's always wise to get to the root cause and work from within and without and start doing more gentle things. A lot of people that have rosacea are using soaps and things on their skin, and some people's skin cannot tolerate them. And a lot of rosacea comes from within, okay? You've got a lot of inflammation in the body, you've got a lot of mast cell stuff going on, you've just got a lot of stuff going on, and that needs to be attended to, okay? So there's a lot of layers here. So the whole mite situation is really just a symptom. It's not the cause, it's a symptom, okay? So when dermatologists say, oh, it's mites that cause this, no. The mites are there because of a deeper problem, okay? A deeper issue. It's like parasites. If you have parasites, it's because of a deeper issue. A healthy body can handle parasites, right? We are supposed to live in symbiotic relationship with them. So it's when you are completely overrun by them, it's pretty much because your gut is a mess. You're eating the wrong foods, your body has a lot of inflammation, and there's just a lot of metabolic waste that is like hanging around. And it's just a prime hotspot for parasites to thrive and, you know, getting bacterial infections and things of that nature. So you have to correct the core, okay? And that's not part of modern medicine at all, okay? So dermatology and aesthetics, they're not about correcting. They're about selling you shit and telling you stories that feed their narrative, all right? So, signing out.